Hello, everyone. I'm not seeing my video, but assume that all is well here. I'm going to share the link for our Hangout and hope that folks are able to join without a problem. I'm seeing an interesting little difference on the screen. We will hope for the best. And I need to send a message to the guests who did register.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be back. And I am curious to see how this is going to work. So I see Vasant and I see you down at the bottom, but I see nothing on the big screen. Do you?
I see him twice.
Yes, I see Vasant twice. And I have a message that says there was an error loading your app. And I see Vasant's note asking about the mobile app. So I think maybe Google's done something new again. And I need to update or do something, which I'll explore later. But it seems to be working okay. You guys can hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So it's good to see you. And now we have one Vasant. So are you on your mobile phone?
Yes. The sad thing is I cannot see the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll save it. I forgot one time, but I will try hard to remember to save it and post it for you after. But so it is welcome back. What's wonderful to share? Anything W, which is whatever. So anything. What's new on your list of questions or comments? Or I see Gerard's fussing with Ivan, maybe?
Ivan, yes.
So he still doesn't get my message. I sent a message out to you guys.
I don't know.
I have to email him, maybe. Poor guy, last time he really worked hard to find his way to the and I don't understand why that happens to him so differently. I don't know why the chat behaves differently.
Maybe because Putin is trying to block Telegram and has a sort of collateral damage.
I don't know. Ivan didn't seem to think it had anything to do with Linux, but I don't know. So, what's new that you want to share or ask about?
The summer season has started in the campground.
So you're a little bit busy?
Yeah, a little bit, but not too much.
Okay. And the team is working well?
Yeah, so far, so good.
Excellent. And Vasant, are you planning any new camping trips?
Yeah, I asked my friends about the upcoming trip, and they said, yes, we can plan. We can go to the nearby hill station, they said. But lately, the things are not going pleasant in terms of politics and in my department. And we are doing a strike. I'm on a strike today. So it has been a 1 week. Yes, it's happening. So nothing pleasant this week. But we are hoping for the good in the future. So there are some protests against the government, and the government uses some violence against the people who protest. Yeah, they shot 12 people, I think. Yeah, 12 or 13 people They are dead.
They shot and
Yes,
killed?
the police. In order to, what do you call? In order to force them to go, in order to let
Right?
yeah. So they shot them, and it's been a national crisis. So the national media got it. Hello, Ivan.
Hello.
Wherever he is.
Can you hear me? No?
Yes.
Squeaky
Yes.
noise. I hear you, but I hear lots of other noise too.
Yeah. I'm going out from this madness. Now it will be better.
This madness called a school?
Yeah, kind of. It's a sports center.
Okay.
Okay. So Vasant, this sounds awful. Were these men anyone that you knew?
Oh, it happened in my nearby district, but
Okay.
we feel somehow connected to the people because they were protested because they were all affected by a chemical industry, a factory. So they are trying to establish a factory there, and the people were affected, and they got new unknown diseases, skin cancers like that, due to the poor wastage management of the factory. So they protested against the government and the factory for almost 99 days, and the 100th day they tried to approach the government office by like a procession. So they were while they were doing the procession, some anti-social, what do you call, the crime committers,
Protesting groups?
yeah, the people who always try to make chaos, or some morons or some psychopaths like that. Yeah, troublemakers. Yeah, I think so. The troublemakers mingled in the crowd, and they started firing the government properties like that. So it became a chaos, and the police had to warn the people, and they had to shoot below their knees. That is a warning shot, but unfortunately 13 bullets went into some innocent people's body, so they were dead. And now everybody is in anger, and they are all blaming the government for the poor tactic to control the procession.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That sounds awful. But now, you said you were on strike, but so not through the postal service?
Yes, it's I'm on a strike because we were all expecting a salary hike, so that is our part, and we are not going to our work. Yeah.
It seems sad to me that so many places seem forced to go to this striking routine to get fair treatment.
In Spain, it's unthinkable shooting bullets to people who are in a demonstration. Even rubber bullets are controversial, because sometimes can hit an eye, but rubber bullets compared with real bullets are nothing. So it's incredible how different are things between countries. I don't know whether in Russia it's normal to shot bullets to people.
In my place, it's kind of business. This demonstration is kind of business. So some people pay demonstrants to go to the street, and then they pay a very few amount of extremists to attack police. When they attack police, picture is done. It's ready. You can read on CNN how police packing these extremists. So, but it's usually continuous for 10 minutes, something like that. It's enough to make pictures, then it's done. so and it's usually influence to only these extremists. So if you ask, thousands of people on the streets, no one cares about this demonstrants or something like this. But on the media, it seems like a huge event.
I have a question for Gerard. With all of the recent major protests with Catalonia and Spain, no fear of shooting?
No, never.
Wow.
There were peaceful demonstrations.
Wow, so that definitely is different than I would expect.
Yeah. Recently, I heard after this incident, our constitution says that if a crowd is not controllable, the police has to warn from a mic. So please go away, like that. If they are not obeying, then they have to use the sticks. How do you call it? The smacking stick,
Clubs?
the rod.
Nightclubs?
Yeah, the cops always have it. The cops always have that stick on their hand. So
Sorry, that's not right. That's not right. Senior moment. Billy clubs, not nightclubs. Billy clubs.
Yeah, they have to use that, and after that they have to use the water treatment to make them go away. And even after they are troubling them, then finally they have to warn on a mic. They're saying that we are going to shoot, we are going to fire, and then they have to shot on the sky there through the how to say that. They have it's a warning signal. Warning shot on the wall, but nothing has happened in this case. That's why people are so angry. Why are you? Why did you take the final step at the first? You didn't warn the people before. Then you suddenly shot the people, and that's really awful, and people are so angry about that.
But I think it's a pretty complicated equation because in Russia, for instance, our cops are toothless. You can attack cop and it will be nothing. You will pay fine at least at max. So they can do nothing with you. And we have many fights with our policemen every day because crime just attacks that because it's nothing will happen. And the same we have on demonstrations. These protesters can throw big stones to our police without any punishment, and happen again. And sometimes police get angry. Like what they do, they put them in the temporary jail for 1 day just to figure all the things out, and then they are free again. So. As a citizens, we don't like that our police is so much weak, I think.
Wow. Well, that's different. Wow.
In America, it's the opposite.
Four very different cultures, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, we always compare that. Some people attack policeman, make him injury and get fine. We say in America you will be die before you started, but in our place it's normal. It's normal. It's happen every day.
Wow. Huh. We had a really sad police officer died this week, very near where we were in New Jersey. A 29-year-old female police officer was called to the scene where a group of four young people seemed to be breaking into homes, and 3 of the guys fled, but one she stopped and caught. And he ran into a car that he had stolen. That's how she found them, is by way of a stolen car being seen in another neighborhood. And he jumped into the car and backed up over top of her, ran her over, killed her. And the kid was only 16 years old. So this 16-year-old's life is over. You run over a police officer and kill a police officer. And you're in prison the rest of your life. He's charged as an adult, and so sad. Oh,
For me, I don't know. I'm a proponent of how to say it, for severe punishment. I'm proponent of that. I don't believe that Russian way, when you have fine $5 that you attack a policeman will work. I don't. It's ridiculous for me. It's just I can't understand that. But we have it. I don't know. We have it traditionally, culturally. It's always was so. Our punishment is always like that.
I don't think our system works very well when it just throws people into prison for the rest of their lives and costs taxpayers a lot of money. And many people live better in some ways in prison than they do outside. It's a mess. It's a mess. No doubt, but it sounds like it's a mess in each of our countries, although Spain sounds best, maybe. And the laws in India sound better than what folks do here. But the police officers wearing cameras, done in your countries? Yes.
Yes, they have cameras in the cars, in their cars, and on their, I don't know, badges and all these things. 10 years ago, we had a problem. We had a problem corruptions between policemen. So they could be bribed or something. So they gave them money. Now it's kind of impossible. Now it's I would not try.
Seriously, you're trying to say corruption is gone?
Yeah.
What? Sorry, I
don't speak about corruption.
US citizen.
I don't speak about corruption like on the top, but I mean at the low level you cannot bribe anyone. If you just trying to offer anything, it will be just a huge amount of problem for you. That's all. But 10 years ago, when I do some little crime on the road, sometimes police stop me, I just pay a go without leaving my car.
And then into the pocket.
No, it's all open. How much? Take it. Go.
I think
so that's a start if they get some corruption under control.
Yeah.
In Spain, I think the thing that of police officers are not corrupted in this level is because they have a good salary and they want to keep it. So it's pointless. It's stupid.
And in Spain, right. That means something. Yeah. Okay.
Well, our policemen are not well paid, and they don't have prestige or something. So we usually I can tell to I usually when I speak to my son, I say, if you will solve your math equation bad, you will be a policeman. It's like a janitor. So no reputation at all for this profession.
Yeah, and my mind is still trying to deal with this, my lifelong trust of policemen and being asked by others to think about not calling the police and not making it worse and going back to dealing with things on our own. And I have such mixed feelings, but the systems are just so messed up. And so policemen in Russia, your perception, Ivan, are not well thought of. The chuckle says all. And in the US, very mixed. And in India, in Spain, your perceptions of how people perceive police?
Yeah, I think negative. People don't appreciate the police job, They have to do, sometimes they have to punish people, but it's necessary.
Well, I cannot say that it's negative in Russia. We don't think negative about them. But we don't think too positive about them. It's like you have to call them if you have problem. Okay, already know they will not do something brilliant. No, they're stupid. So you just have to do that to make all these formalities and all these things. And they don't have a good reputation because of low salaries, because of many things. So it's a job, like low-level job. That's all.
Yes, here, especially in my state, our police department's motto is police department is your friend, but not every citizen feels so, because we feel there are some good policemen out there, but lots of policemen are still getting briberies, and even some good policemen are forced to get briberies because in order to satisfy their higher authorities, because the chain is like a hierarchy.
Strange word, hierarchy.
Hierarchy. Yes. So it's like from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
So not if I give anything to my nearby police station, that it doesn't belong to the single police station. It will go up and go, and the share will go up and up. It's like that. And we have a special a funny joke here, but it is true. If you are getting caught on the middle of a road, and if you are violating some traffic rules, the police will say, pay me 100 or pay 500 in the court, something like that. So often the people always pay the 100, the less amount to the policeman, and they will drive away. It happens, yeah.
A joke that is serious. Wow.
Well, once I used in positive terms, I used help of police twice in my life. And one time it was pretty funny, I think, because I was pretty drunk in some bar, and I did something wrong, and I have to pay for damage, for damage. And the guard of this bar tried to keep me in the bar, not let me go. And I called police and said, I am hostile here. Hostage here, yeah. Some unknown man trying to keep me there. And they solved that. they got me from there, but they do it without any blood. They said, give the phone to this guy. And I gave them phone. They said it's a crime, you will have a problem. So I went out. I don't know, can we call it like a positive, but they solved my problem.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I've ever called the police. I don't know if well, after a traffic accident, I have. See, and that's the law. We are supposed to call the police. And now people are telling me that it's better not to. And I don't know if I can be, I feel like goody two-shoes.
I can show you device in my car. That is a dashboard cam. You see?
Yes.
Yes, it's a replacement for policemen in traffic accidents.
Show it again, please, because I had your picture.
It's a dashboard cam.
Okay. And
yes.
So you have a dashboard cam. I've seen a lot of people in Russia have them. I don't know if they're illegal here or not, but I don't see them here.
Well, it's definitely legal here, and you have better conditions for insurance, and you spend less time for traffic accidents. If you have it, if someone else have it, you just go all these records and go away. You don't wait to anyone.
Right. Yeah.
But one record is not enough. You need two. You need two records.
Right.
But it's easy because everyone have it. Whatever happen, you have like 10 records easily. And do you remember this Chelyabinsk meteorite?
Yeah.
No? Yeah. There are thousands of records of meteorite because of that, because everyone saw them from this car.
There's a tangent of discussion. Wow, crash and meteorite crash, right? So I should look into that. I don't know if they're illegal here or not. I've never noticed one.
Maybe you just don't have motivation like we are.
Yeah, but if I drove like my daughter and son-in-law drive, motivation's definitely there. Wow. So, as far as you know, it's not required that you call the police?
No. If you are sure that you have enough evidence, you can go. But if you don't have it, you will be in problem after.
Yes, right.
So you can decide. But if you have 2 records at least and 1 witness, no problem. Just go. You will fill the papers later.
Yeah, so I'm really struggling a lot with this concept of to call or not to call the police. I have so many thoughts in my mind about it, but
well, Russia usually call.
And also the safetiness. There are so many people impersonating cops. And so they tell us as women, especially because we're so weak and helpless, they tell us we should not call or not open our window, just a tiny crack to open our window, or not open it at all, just enough so they can hear us, and try to be assured. And if we're scared, to tell them we're scared and we're going to go to the first public place, and to pull away and try to get to the first public space where there are witnesses. And I don't know if I would think about that if I saw the lights and saw a car pulling up behind me. I would probably roll my window down. Yes.
I always watch in movies, American movies, the people ask identification to police officers. How do they know it's a real identification?
Right. We all know how easy it is. And there are places you can go, and now on the internet, where you can buy real.
Gerard, I can answer how it's solved in Russia. If you use this identification, you just call police number. You just call. We have short police number. You just call it and ask, where is this officer? And they can say it's around you, or it's not around you now. So it's very easy. And sometimes, someone knocked in my door. Police, open. I just call police and ask him, is there an officer around my house? And they say yes or no. So I can check it in no time.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I forgot to tell you another funny story about my second time when police saved me. Just recall it. Yeah, it was not in Russia, it was in Morocco. And it was very interesting for me, yeah. I was in taxi with my wife and with driver, and some guy attacked us. And guy was how to say, high under some narcotics or something like that. He was not normal. He was not sane, and he just attacked us. And I did not know what to do. Because I did not want to fight with him. Because what will happen if I don't know, if I kill him? What will I do in Morocco without my Arabic, without anything, in a different country? I will spend my rest of the life in the prison, maybe, just because of that. So I was just in problem. I did not know what to do, and driver did not know what to do also. So I just tried to keep this guy, to hold him, and that's all what I can. And driver like made a short ride to some special place maybe, or something like that. And some guys from without formal suits, just they look like citizens, but they were police. And driver know it somehow. So, yeah, so it was like a special signal or something like that. But they spoke all with Arabic with me, so I don't know exactly what happened. But it was not very pleasant accident actually.
But they were able to help.
They immediately like took him. They tried to speak with me, with my driver, and then we just go.
Wow. Yeah, that would be scary. And mental health issues, a concern here. Funding for facilities for people to stay, and there are some excellent facilities and some mediocre facilities, but places where they can live and stay safely and have some quality of life are few and expensive. And so more and more places, when the funding goes down or more regulations come in, they just put people out on the streets. And a lot of our homeless population are people who struggle with family dysfunction as well as some mental health challenges and don't know how to work the system without being overdrugged or put into a psychiatric ward. And it's a real challenge that is difficult to address and is also something quite different country to country, I think.
Yeah. When you don't understand laws, when you just out of your zone. Because in Russia, I don't doubt. Well, I just call and that's all. I speak the same language. I understand all the laws. I understand the rules. So it's no any danger for me. I can't imagine something go wrong. I can't imagine that. But in different country, it's another story.
And there he is. He's back again. And you had a question? I don't know if you still remember.
Yeah. How do the policemen treat if you are a witness? Because until a couple of years ago, we had a rule that says if we are a witness, if we witness any road accident, and we should not touch the people until the police arrives. We have to file a police complaint. After that, they will be taken to the hospital. So then later, so many people were afraid to call the police because the police will treat you like a culprit. So were you there and where you caused the accident, something like that? They will ask a question like that. So people were afraid, and later the government decided to alter the rule, and they said you can call the police later. You can call the medical facility first, and they will give the medicine first. And after during the court cases processes, the police has to treat you in a very good manner. If you feel any uncomfortable way of approach from the policeman, then you can file a case against them. You can file a complaint against them. So it gave the freedom to the people who are voluntarily help the victims. So I think it is important.
Yes, very important. And so many questions. I typed a few, which you can't see, rise in my mind. But when you first asked the question, my reaction was very different, remembering the accident I was in a couple of years ago where a woman turned left in front of me and totaled my car. she turned on a red arrow and said, "Yes, I know it was red, but I thought I could make it." She didn't. um, but she did it. She did admit it to me, but that was before the officer got there. And then, soon as the officer got there, there was a witness that stopped to help me mostly, but had seen the accident and wanted to make sure I was okay and safe because it was dangerous where my car ended up. But the police officer took, two officers took, no, that's wrong. One officer stayed in the vehicle and did nothing. The other officer immediately took the other driver off out of earshot. So out of earshot, and told the witness to leave. Didn't take the witness's information, told her to leave. And I wanted to get the witness's information in case I needed her to tell the insurance companies that it was not my fault. Usually that's what witnesses to me are for, is to tell what they saw for an accident. But for first aid, when I was young, almost everyone in high school, I don't know if it was part of our physical education training or not, but we took extensive first aid. And for the first few years I worked, it was very available at low cost, no cost to get first aid training. But I don't hear much about it anymore. And so I wonder if most people are trained, and if so, how, in first aid?
Well, I don't know how it's universities, but when I was a student, I got this training, and later on I got this on military service. So, and it may be interesting for you, but in Russia, if you got this training and you did not help someone on the street in danger, you are a crime now. You are under the, how to say it? You will be punished for that. So if you got a formal training, your duty is to help some victim on the street.
You're serious about it being a crime?
Yeah, it's a crime.
Yeah. Filed. Yeah. So here, many people try to help out of the goodness of their heart, even if they're not trained, but they're often very hesitant to do very much. I've never heard of the police filing charges or complaining about someone trying to help. But I do know that there are many people who don't feel able to help. I don't know if it's if military, if it is a charge, if it's a crime to leave or not. I don't know that. Sorry,
in military, what?
I don't know if it's a crime here. If you're trained in the military in first aid, or if you have the card in your pocket that shows your level of training and you don't help, I don't know if that's considered a crime here or not. It would be considered immoral and unethical, but I don't know if it would be a crime.
Yeah, it's very controversial thing. We discussed it many times. We discussed it many times in our society, but currently it's a crime. If you did not help and you train it, we have a special law for that. It means that you like drop someone in danger. It's the same.
Yeah.
So you like cause a danger.
Is neglecting? Neglecting, I think, is the word.
Willful neglect.
Maybe. I don't know how to translate it because I learned that in Russian.
Yeah. That would be the expression.
Yeah.
Wow. Parents get accused of willful neglect, willfully neglecting their children. But I don't know if that's used in circumstances like this. Gerard, what's your knowledge of Spain? Yeah.
Spanish law tells us that it's compulsory to warn, to do whatever we can. If there is an accident or something, at least warning, the emergency services. At least that. And if we can do something more, better. That would be better.
Well, It's funny, but after my education in that regard, I think that sometimes it's better not to try to help if you not know what to do. If you're not trained formally, it's better to stay away, at least in hard cases, because to to make it worse, it's very easy.
Yes, right.
Yes, but if someone is inside a car after an accident and the car is about to
Gerard, it's very tricky. What is a back broken? What is it's bleed? It's very tricky. You know. Yeah, you have to take this responsibility. Maybe you will kill someone trying to make it better. And it's easy, actually. And I don't know how it's happened, but I was a volunteer on many wildfires, and it was I was not like a fireman, no. But when they need help, I go and I helped. And I 2 times in my life it happened in the forest where there are no fire department, and we try to save the village from that. So, and I saw this burns, how to call it, when person inside the fire, they damaged severely, and it was before my training, and I I think it was kind of a motivation for me to get this training after, because it's a feeling of helpless. You want to do something, but you just don't know what can you do. I'm sorry.
Or feelings of helplessness. You had a feeling of helpless.
I knew that you were writing something, but I'm sorry, I can read it today. I can read it today from my mobile.
Right.
So I feel that, but cannot correct.
Yeah. So your feeling adjective is helpless. You're feeling helpless, but a feeling of needs you need a noun after. So helplessness after. So those little prepositions change. Yeah. And I really I've thought often over the years that I should go for a refresher class in first aid, because it's been quite a few years now for me, but I don't hear about them anymore. So I suspect it's another budget. I suspect that it's I see them listed on community college classes and adult education classes for $200 and $300, but a lot of people can't or won't pay that. And in first 20 years as an adult, they were offered frequently at no cost or very, very low cost. Oh, goodness. Wow. Well, that was a lot of whatever and some excellent vocabulary from all 3 of you. We're dropping that vocab in very appropriately. I had a note from our new member, Laura, who wanted to join us today, but she apparently hasn't done Hangouts before, and she didn't figure it out today. So I'll have to try and help her with a quick one beforehand, and hopefully she will join us in the future. What else? Well, so I have a question. My Airbnb question, Vasanth replied to, but when you travel, do you always follow the same pattern of looking for a place to stay? If you don't have a friend to stay with and you have to stay overnight somewhere, how do you go about finding a place to stay? There's so many options now. So how do you go about, what do you look for?
Sorry, Vasanth, please go.
Okay. I usually use an app. We have so much of apps to book hotels and something like that. But as a bunch of friends, we don't prefer that one, because when once we arrived at the place and we started
So
don't
no
book
reservations.
online.
So you don't have advanced reservations.
Yes, we have the options, but we don't choose.
Okay. So you check first to make sure there are some options available, but you don't reserve anything. That makes sense because my story, and I could do that now. I could do that now. That's a good tip for me. Years ago, we took my young daughter and a friend, and we left for a 14-hour drive, expecting to stay at about hour 4, find a place to stay along Thousand Islands area in New York. And nothing was available. Nothing. My husband ended up driving all through the night, all the way to camp, because there was some huge race car event. And every hotel, every dang one was full, and there were no vacancies sign everywhere. And this is before Airbnb and before cell phones and before how easy it is now. So,
well, my way is pretty simple. My way is pretty. First of all, I always book before, I pay before, so I don't care too much about money, but I care about to stay on the street with my children and wife and all the things. So, so I always pay before, and if booking without paying possible, I prefer to pay anyway, just to have obligation from other side. Yeah. And my way how I choose is, it's kind of tricky, you know. You need I usually say, for instance, just now in few hours we are going to the trip. How I manage this trip? I just tell my wife, we are going to that town. I need 3 hotels with pool, with bar around, and some museum around, and that's all. After a few hours, I get 3 options and I choose one.
Okay, but you do look for a hotel.
Hotel, R&B, booking, I don't care. Usually we prefer like R&B. We prefer flats to hotels, but sometimes if I don't like pictures of flat, I prefer hotel.
Yep. Yeah. And do the sites that show a flat available, do they give you feedback from both the hosts and the
R&B, for instance,
people who have stayed before?
Yeah. I don't believe to photos and something, but I do believe to reviews. So it's a number 1 to me. And sometimes, very rare, but sometimes I do that. If I can, I communicate with previous guests. I call them or I write them. Sometimes I do that. Usually people do understand. So usually I call them and I start, I know that you had this experience. I go with my little boy. I'm kind of worried. Can you please enlighten me about that and that? And people do that very easily.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, Gerard.
Okay, a question I wanted to ask you before. Is it allowed in America to do camping anywhere either with a tent or RV or trailer, or do you need to go to specific places?
Well, you're allowed to park in Walmart parking lots overnight. So if you want to stay in a Walmart parking lot, you're allowed to park your RV in Walmart.
It's allowed in Russia, Gerard. You can stay there whenever you like. You can make a fire. You can make a hut. You can live there forever. It's allowed.
In Spain, it's not. You need to go to campgrounds, specific places. But some people, they have regular bands, and they adapt the bands to be an RV, so it looks like normal bands. And they use, and they can go anywhere with those bands.
Where in the place where I stayed in Malaga, it was a big parking place, and with signs at every meter, don't park there for long and something like this. It's not allowed to come there, and it all was with camping, cars. So no one cares. I asked one guy, why you don't care about this restriction? He said, I will pay a fine. It's easier than book a hotel.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, many people with the van campers that Gerard just mentioned will take their chances and try to find someplace private, back off the back roads. Often they are the type of people who prefer back roads rather than cities anyway. But it's not, I wouldn't be surprised if there were an app like we have the couch surfers. I'd be surprised if there were a parking lot surfer or a parking surfer place somewhere that you could research online and list for $10 a night or something. But it's not legal and you can get fined or towed. They can tow you away in the middle of the night. So it's not easy and quite expensive. Camping, because of RVs, camping is expensive, much more so than it used to be. Tent used to cost us $3 or $4 a night, and now it's often 20 to 30 for a tiny camping site per night. And that's, to me, that's ridiculous, but it is what it is. Most places now have flush toilets and electric, a lot more conveniences than.
But
That's
I
not
think,
really camping.
but I think it's also a complicated question. You know, you can park, you can stay whenever you want in Russia, but I think because of that we don't have a too many good hotels. So sometimes I want to stay in hotels. Sometimes I want, full service with breakfast. I don't know, with swimming pool, with all these things, with a sauna. But I cannot find one because people prefer to stay in other places. So. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not seeing the chat. So I'm trying to remember what the other, damage, not damage, but damage, and not hotels, but no, not hotels, but hotels. Hotels. And
Okay.
a challenge for you, I heard fewer good hotels. Try to use a better adjective than good. What do you mean? Good can mean many things. So what do you mean? Fewer.
I like Porsche hotels.
Like
with gold bathroom.
posh. Like posh hotels. So there are fewer posh hotels. That's definitely a replacement adjective.
Do you use stars in America to qualify hotels? Like 1 star, 2 star? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
It's international, yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't have 5-star hotels in Russia at all, I think. If you have 3 stars, it's good enough. I'm sorry, guys. I have to go to pick up my boy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Don't ever stay in an econo lodge if you travel to the US. Of places to stay in most towns and cities?
Campground, do you mean?
Campgrounds, hotels, Airbnb. Is there a lot of different opportunities?
There is a range of different levels of qualities, from 1 star to 5 stars, and campgrounds also are rated differently. Several levels.
Too. Okay.
Yeah, for instance, my campground, it has the highest level because there are a lot of services. Even we have shows, we have a supermarket, we have bars, many things, many amenities.
Yes. Yeah. And is that true in most reasonable sized towns as well as cities? You can find accommodations. Interesting.
In Europe, people from the north love a lot camping because the weather,
Yeah, I can understand that. It's beautiful there. Yeah.
And they find people from their country as well. So it's like being to a foreign country with people from your country. So they love that.
Home away from home, huh?
Even last year, I found an American in my campground.
Yeah, I practice that English even more.
Hmm.
Yeah. Vasant, is it easy to find places to stay almost anywhere?
Yes, it is easy, and especially it's a tourist place, and people, even a normal people would build a home, or they would use their own home, a part of their home as a accommodation. I recently I learned about that because Ivan said he might have had a chance to visit India, and I started to visit him also. So I was trying to searching some places in Goa. So then I found a lot of people use their own home as an accommodation, and they provide food, the homemade food to the.
Nice.
So I read the reviews. The people said all of the they said like that. Yeah, it was like a home. It wasn't felt like a hotel. It was like a they would visit again, and they said like that. So I was
Yeah, I enjoy that type of experience. My husband's a little shyer and less comfortable around strangers, so he prefers more like where we stayed this last time in our own little cottage with less interaction with the hosts. Although at this last stay, I didn't post about this because I have nothing bad to say about our hosts. They were wonderful. But the first night we were there, the second night we were there, we woke up that following morning, and everything in the refrigerator that we had packed from home was frozen solid. The refrigerator had an issue, and it froze all of our fresh vegetables and our eggs. That fresh eggs they'd given us were all exploded in the refrigerator. And we felt terrible, but it wasn't us. So I waited till we saw them, and I walked up and told them. And within hours, we had a new refrigerator delivered. That they went out and bought a new refrigerator and put it in and offered to pay for our food. And we told them not to worry about it. So they invited us for breakfast out at their place the next morning, and we had a nice breakfast with them. But I have looked for that type of experience in the past where you can plan, and like where we stayed in Spain was like that. That was wonderful. Gerard came and stayed with us in a big group table meal. That was fantastic. I would much prefer to do that every time, but this time worked well for both of us. So who you're with makes a difference too. So I was thinking when you shared your story, Vasant, about you and your friends is different than Ivan with three young children trying to find a place. Yeah. Different prerequisites. So what are the things you think about most when you're traveling? It'll be hard for Gerard because you don't travel a lot.
I don't travel much so far.
So if you, so hard for you. So you haven't had a lot. But Vasant, you have traveled a little bit. So what do you think about first if you're going off with a few guys for a getaway escape? What do you look for?
Yes, we all have a same wavelength. We do not want to visit the same what do you call it, the museums and the beaches like that. We want to explore something spectacular, and the place is not visited by most people. So that's why we always wanted to be in contact with some local people. They know where to go, that the uninhabited, how to say that?
Uninhabited.
That kind of, yes, uninhabited.
Yeah, a lot of syllables.
Yeah, that kind of places. Yeah.
Ah,
Last time we went to a hill place which was not explored by most of the people. It's only used for the windmills. So
oh,
it's known for a heavy wind blow. So you cannot visit there in normal days. We were lucky, and when the day we visited, there was no wind. So we went to the cliff and we shouted as much as we could.
ah,
We enjoyed a lot.
ah. So windmills or wind farms?
Yes, windmills.
Like in
The thing is
Holland,
used.
the old-fashioned
Yeah.
windmills, or oh, really? Oh,
Yes,
wow.
on a cliff. It's on the peak of the mountain,
Okay.
and the driver said, "If you are lucky, you can see the spectacular view. But for a thin guy like you, the wind will take you to the land, or
The wind will blow you
the
away.
earth." So he said like that. Yeah, he said like that.
So you
It
lucked
was a
out.
fun way, but we were lucky. We didn't have any wind. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about Airbnb listings is hunting for those off the beaten path places, and you can tell by some of the comments people leave on what your host does or doesn't know about the area. And we've had some wonderful discoveries that way too. Yeah. For me, flowers is, I love it if somebody knows something about gardens and flowers, and we'll check that out. But yeah, fun. Wow, we covered a lot today. You guys are becoming more fluent than I am.
We were inspired.
We were inspired. Okay. All right, I'm gonna.
Is it right to say that we were inspired when we have a lot of ideas?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Lots to inspire us. We were inspired. Yeah. So I'm going to save the chat so I can post it for Vasanth and Ivan. And glad you joined. And hopefully we'll get to meet Laura next time. I haven't talked with her yet, except on SpeakPipe. She's left me a few messages using SpeakPipe. So maybe we have a good active learner for a while there. Be nice to have some female.
Yeah.
Join us a little more often. So have a good evening, guys, and
Have a good
talk to you
weekend.
soon. Good luck with your
Bye-bye.
strikes and the other. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.